What history books will write about you, what your children and grandchildren will read about you, will depend on what decisions you make today. So I sincerely hope that you decide that youth is no longer a subsidiary agenda, but the most important agenda for this Council and for the United Nations.
Young people, they need to unite, they need to come together as a force in order for them, to explore opportunities, to move the country forward.
Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "Peace is not merely a distant goal that we seek, but a means by which we arrive at that goal." Achieving international peace and security is an ambitious goal. The process by which we achieve it must be inclusive, fair, and sustainable. That's why it's critical that the international community responds to the needs and aspirations of young people and supports youth leadership in sustaining peace. The UN, with support from the Folke Bernadotte Academy, has developed the Youth, Peace and Security, a programming handbook seeking to increase capacities to support programming for youth-inclusive peace building by the UN and the international community.
The following 7 chapters of the handbook offer strategic guidance and practical advice on youth, peace and security implementation. Chapter 1. It is important to understand whom to engage and how to engage young people while doing no harm by being sensitive to the divides, inequalities, and power imbalances between and among young people and their context.
I'm very excited about this handbook because it gives you directions on how to ensure youth meaningful participation. When designing and implementing projects that are aimed to take actions around peace and security processes, you allow the voices of young women and men to be included throughout the whole programming process.
Chapter 2. Youth-sensitive and youth-inclusive conflict analysis.
The process of developing a youth-sensitive conflict analysis or a youth participatory conflict analysis process can, in and of itself, contribute to sustaining peace and to youth inclusion in programming by, young people collectively identifying issues important to them, or with other actors, with other social identities, social groups, and in an intergenerational setting. That in and of itself can sort of create a great platform and starting point for future programmatic interventions.
Chapter 3. Youth, peace and security specific strategic priorities and theories of change can help make programming assumptions explicit and increase the effectiveness of projects. The Dialogue for the Future project is an example of using dialogue platforms to include youth in decision-making about the common future of society by bringing together youth, decision-makers, and stakeholders in Bosnia and Herzegovina, Montenegro, and Republic of Serbia. The dialogue platforms provide a space to discuss, identify, and agree on proposed actions that will strengthen social cohesion. It facilitates the inclusion of youth in visioning exercises and recognizes young people's right to have a say in defining their societies and own lives. Chapter 4. When developing a youth peace and security project, it is important that outcome statements and indicators are focusing on positive peace outcomes and conflict transformation for longer-term solutions that take into account all segments of the population. UNDP and the Bangsamoro Youth Commission is collaborating to promote youth participation and leadership in sustaining peace in the Philippines. Through the Bangsamoro Youth Commission, young people have been part of formulating program outcomes as a way of making outcomes responsive to the needs and aspirations of young people. Chapter 5 and Chapter 6. Working with youth in monitoring and evaluation heightens the organization's transparency and accountability toward youth and can improve uptake of recommendations. Evaluations can be youth-sensitive, youth-led, or youth-focused. Chapter 7. There are entry points for YPS programming across the 5 pillars of Resolution 2250 and the Humanitarian Development Peace Nexus.
So we launched a comprehensive consultation, the first United Nations Youth Assembly in Kosovo. It was June 2017. And the idea was to not only to organize as a consultation when we ask young people about their opinions and their goals under the pillars of the resolution, but furthermore to co-drive the event together with them and to have them included throughout all stages of the process. So basically, from the consultation, we came up with 50 youth-led recommendations, which shaped the Kosovo roadmap on youth peace and security. And then we organized consultations with the Kosovo institutions, with United Nations entities, with various international organizations, but furthermore with the young people and youth organizations, youth-led peace movements, young people coming from all communities residing in Kosovo. They were an integral part of the process since the beginning.
Since December 2015, when the United Nations Security Council unanimously adopted the first resolution on youth peace and security, recognizing the positive contribution of young women and men to peace, other resolutions followed underlining the vital role of youth in building peace and significantly expanding the agenda with new tasks. We must all work together on a peaceful, inclusive, equitable, and sustainable future for all.